Hey everybody, welcome to CAF update number 7. This is, I'm going to try to keep it brief today. A lot of different things going on in the world, and just in my world in particular, just so busy. I'm pulling this together kind of last minute, but I have everything for you. Clearly, today is sort of a somber day with the passing of Chadwick Boseman, played Black Panther in the Marvel movies, who as a character clearly was co-created by both Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, someone who we're also celebrating this weekend. So, I kind of thought, it might be cool to show an image from Fantastic 452. These are two separate images from that book. One was the unpublished cover on the left, and then the published cover on the right. Since we're talking about Jack Kirby, I thought it was really fitting to be able to mention that today, especially with the passing of Boseman. It's great that we have his portrayal of Black Panther. Originally I always thought that it was going to be a bad movie, but it turned out to be one of my favorites. So it's a very disappointing day, but at the same time, like we said, we're trying to celebrate the honor and the legacy that Kirby has passed on. And with that in mind, of course, the Kirby Museum is doing a live stream currently as well. And I fully expect most people to be watching that, and they'll watch this one later. I believe right now at 2:00 they had Eric Larson was going to be on, which would have been fantastic for me to watch live, but I'll tune into it after this is over. Yesterday I watched Jeremy Kirby, the grandson of Jack. It was a nice interview. I know Mike Royer was on yesterday, but I did not see that. Bashar from Nostalgic Investments was supposed to be on at 1 p.m. today, and I wasn't able to watch that either. So I encourage everybody, once this is over, to head on over to the Kirby Museum Facebook page and check them out. I wish I had some anecdotal story about Jack Kirby. He passed away in 1994, long before I started collecting original comic book artwork. Of course, I've been going to conventions, buying comics and whatnot, probably since the early 80s, but certainly was never at a show that he was at. Kirby was always, when I was younger, a really tough artist to kind of get my mental, wow, I love this guy's artwork kind of thing. But because at the time, I was so into John Byrne and George Perez and different artists like that, that I looked at some of the works that were coming out, and I just was like, who is this guy, and why is he still allowed to make comic books? He's just not like these other guys. And certainly my opinion of Jack Kirby has changed over the years, and he is the king of comics, and deservedly so. I don't think there would be comics as they are today, as they are honored and cherished today, without his creative input. So with that in mind, again, please check out the Kirby Museum afterwards. Tom Kraft is doing an incredible job over there. I did want to say that, look, today I am actually Team Felix Comic Art. Felix, of course, saw me show the Splash Page comic art shirt I was wearing last week, so he sent that in for me to wear this week, and I'm fully happy to wear anybody else's next week. He even sent me a face mask, which I was not going to wear to be part of today's show. So, I always mention Albert because I remember he had those Got Art shirts. He should be sending me one of those if he's got any more. I would love to wear one next week for him. So just as far as all the busy week stuff, I did want to kind of throw out there that we had a chat on Thursday night that was related to the Not Safe for Work issue. I've gotten about 8 emails from people saying they're willing to help moderate. Just so you know, I've gotten them. I haven't replied to them yet, but I will reply to everybody this evening, just to let them know that I'm really happy that they want to help me, and that I look forward to getting them into a moderator status really soon, so that we can all start working together to make CAF a better place. Side project for me is every year, as most people know, I do work on the infectedbyart.com. It's an online competition published into a book. So on top of all the other things that I've been doing, this late spring and then most of the summer, I spent just editing the book, and finally got the proof copy in hand so that I can do a final sign off and then send that to the printer to actually have them take care of it. This is actually volume 8. I've worked on it since the second volume, and if you're into imaginative realism, Magic the Gathering artwork, that sort of thing, it's kind of a celebration of that work. It goes on every year. It's a lot of fun for me because I like rubbing elbows with those artists as well as comic art artists as well, and it just is it's a fun project. Just another thing I keep busy with year round. So we're starting like a submission period for the book for Infected by Art 9 in about a week and a half. So it's just something else that fits into the schedule of all the other things that I've got going on. So with that in mind, I'm just going to start and jump right into the featured art because there's 3 Kirby pieces lead it off, very fitting. And one of the things that I'll make a note about, to all of you, just as how do I pick the pieces I want to feature? It is a combination of comments and views and likes during that week, and I have just a little algorithm that pulls out the pieces. And I can be honest, I tend to pick featured or premium artwork over non-premium, and the real reason is because the scans are bigger. Premium members have that 2,000 pixel tall resize image height, and so I need better scans to be able to put them in this broadcast. And so at the end of the day, it's the premium artwork that tends to get focused on more than the non-premium artwork, just because I've tried to put a few smaller pieces in and they just get all pixelated and they don't look as good. So even if you've got a great Kirby cover and you're not premium member, unfortunately I might not feature it just because I can't get a good scan to show that's of any value here. So with that in mind, I'll just get the featured art trailer running and we'll talk about that as I go. So first up is this Jack Kirby, Mike Esposito cover. It is the Avengers 148 cover, Squadron Supreme, obviously kind of historic. I always like this cover. Thor looks like he's sleeping. And here's a good example. This is a well-scanned piece, really big, from, sorry, I'm just like a little scattered here, from Eternals. And love this piece, and I love the fact that the scan was as big as it was. Then, and of course, that was a Kirby Royer piece. This is a Kirby Ayers piece. I mean, this is, you can tell it's an Ayers inked Kirby piece. Ayers really had a very distinct style when he was inking that, and that was from Avengers 16, page 1. Here's another nice piece. This is I always forget, this is the giant size Thor #1 cover by Kane and Sinnott. Nice scan as well. I need more of those. Here we have a Joe Jusko Marvel double shot cover, and it features, of course, Hulk and Thor. I like this image a lot because it reminds me of the old Rampaging Hulk magazine covers. This is, this is from the collection of Greg and Amanda Spatz, good friends of mine. The next 2 pieces, this piece and the next, they are by an artist named Alcimar Frazao. I was, honestly, I'm not familiar with the artist, but I love these pieces, and they ranked really high in terms of comments and views last week, both a Harley Quinn and a Huntress, of course. Or not Huntress, I'm sorry, Batwoman. Scattered, told you, it's a crazy day. This is a John Romita Scott Hanna Peter Parker wraparound cover, and there's so much to love about this piece, but primarily I just love the contrast of the webs behind Spider-Man and the webs in his costume. Up next is this Marvel Tales cover from the collection of Glenn Brunswick, with probably one of the most iconic Spider-Man images of all time in it. I mean, at least from when I was a kid. And this, of course, would be the Huntress, and it's with Batman. It's a commission by Eduardo Rizzo, and just really like this. This is from the collection of Daryl R. Next up, of course, is the second piece by Nick Catratis in this preview. It's Captain America #4, covered by Steve Epting. The Hulk Thor piece was Nick's first piece in this list. Here's a spectacular Spider-Man cover from 1977, issue #3 by Al Milgrom. I like this one, and I'll stop it a little bit just because here's a cover where it doesn't have the logo. I like it that way. It looks like a nice splash page instead. And finally, this is the Marvel Super Action #32 cover by Mary Severin. So lots of good stuff as always. This was it was a really rich week, I think, for just unique pieces. And it's funny how we continue to have similar crossovers, with characters and creators, whether it's a Romita Senior, Romita Junior, lots of Spider-Man, the Kirby pieces. I mean, I think we've always had a Kirby piece as one of the top 10 or 15 pieces every week. So next up, I'm just going to run through the comic art dealer market data, and this was a bit of a down week from the week before, but still one of the top probably 3 weeks in 2020 where there was a total of $293,000 in sales from the dealers that I work with, and that of course is down from $340,000 the prior week, but still an incredible amount, because I would say normally dealer sales would be in the 225, 235 range when it's a really decent average week. Top sellers for the week were like a neck and neck. Ramita Man edged out Felix by $3,000, $91,000 to $88,000. So really tight. And then Albert Moy was the third place finisher, if you want to call it a race, which of course it's not, at around just under $43,000. And with the images from that, I can show you. First piece is and of course there's the comic art dealer total. First piece is a Wonder Woman Dead Earth issue 4. This is the cover image, but it was sold as a complete issue for $45,000. Artwork by Daniel Warren Johnson from Felix Comic Art. Next up is this Thor 194 cover, which of course is from 1971. It's John Buscema, Frank Giacoia. It was sold for an asking price of $23,000 by Ramita Man. This is obviously a Barry Windsor Smith Marvel Comics Presents page. It's from issue 80, page 5, sold by Albert Moy for $22,000 asking price. This is a Arthur Adams cover reinterpretation from JLA number 60. It was sold by Mike Berkey as well for $11,000 as an asking price. And lastly, another Ramita Man sold piece by Joe Staton and Dick Giordano, sold for $8,500. It's a DC Showcase number 98. It's from 1977, early Power Girl cover, of course. It's funny because I actually did get an email from a dealer that I work with that I think that doesn't pay attention to the reports that I write. And they're like, my sales have been really great. And, have you guys been noticing the same thing? And I haven't replied to him yet, but it was, I had to chuckle because it's like, yeah, and your stuff has kind of been popping into my reports. And so, I have a bit of an email just to write him to say, yeah, and maybe you should follow what we're writing over here because there's some really, there's lots of good data in here. And I thought that this was a fun report because with regards to the Thor 194 cover, when I was looking at Buscema Thor covers, that piece was actually the number 1, number 2 sold price because it was in there twice. And there was another Buscema interior page that was, as far as Buscema Thor pieces go, was I think number 3 and number 4, the same piece sold, and at different times by different dealers. So it's the data that we have for dealers does span all the way back to like 2004. So I do end up seeing a lot of crossover like that. And sometimes the prices go up and sometimes more rarely the prices go down from one to the next. I think in the title page that I talked about in the report, it was a Loki splash to, I can't even remember what issue it was. It was like the final page, but it might have been sold by one dealer 8 years ago for $6,000 and then recently sold for $5,500. So, that kind of thing happens, but in most cases, they're obviously going to go up regardless of the time frame. So next up, let's just go into the auction house top selling items. Nothing really stellar that jumped out this week. I'd say that it's somewhat consistent then, as far as, with the Mike Mignola auctions that he's been doing for charity, those ones have kind of always been dominating and have been making more of the headlines for eBay. It's kind of cool because I kind of ran through a report of what Mike has been able to sell since he started these World Central Kitchen charity auctions, and he is well over $200,000 in funds raised for that charity. So hats off to Mike. I mean, that's pretty incredible. It just shows you that, when artists care about something, they can really make a difference. And, for me, honestly, when I started working with eBay like 12 years ago to promote their auctions, and I found out how I can work with them to, make some side revenue as well, it was really because of charity events. And at that time, when I started working with them, it was because of Hurricane Katrina. And I was working my tail off trying to promote the auctions that so many artists were putting out there to support, that charity. And I kept thinking, gosh, there's got to be an easier way to show all these auctions from eBay. And that's how I kind of stumbled onto tools that they provide, sites like ours, to promote their auctions. And then if you help sell, they pay a commission, that sort of thing. So just kind of to show that artists have been incredibly charitable so often. I mean, Jim Lee's charities for the shops, of course, and but Mignola has done an incredible job too. And again, it's I'm happy to be a part of it because obviously we promote the heck out of those auctions as well. And the thing is, just so you know, we actually don't make any money from charity auctions. When an auction is guaranteed to go have all its funds go to a charitable organization, including when they're the Hero Initiative auctions, which we promote all the time as well, we get zero, because at the end of the day, eBay doesn't actually collect any fees for those auctions. And so they don't pass any revenue down to the people like me who promote those auctions. But we promote the heck out of those because I firmly believe in supporting the charities that the artists and that the other organizations that are out there, especially when they're using eBay to promote those events and charities. And so it's well worth the effort to do that. And, you know, and we receive zero compensation for doing that. And, you know, and I know that there's always a lot of those types of auctions out there on eBay, and it would be great when they are. There's a lot of times I miss them, and I'd love to promote more of them. So it's something that when they're out there, I don't mind getting side emails from people saying, hey, if you didn't see this, go ahead and promote it. Because there were, with the comic shops, there were a lot of different ones going on, and I did miss several of them early on. None of the ones from Jim, of course, but in general. So let me just get over to the top results from both eBay and Heritage last period. First up, again, the auction total was $246,000 for the week. That's down from $270,000 prior to that. This is one of the Mignola auctions, sold for $11,100. This was actually 7 consecutive pages from Batman 430 by Jim Aparo, and it kind of had Batman's origin in it. It sold for $9,000. I just cherry-picked a couple pages to show from it. And then the third highest sale for the week was another Mignola painted piece, sold for $8,100. From Heritage, coming up here, this is the next piece is actually kind of a follow-up to a piece from the prior week. It's a Kurt Swan, Murphy Anderson page. This shows Superman finding the big pile of sand that Lois is trapped in and saving her. It sold for $5,520. Next up is actually a complete story from Swamp Thing by Tony DeZuniga, and it sold for $3,360 on Heritage. And finally, there is a Murphy Anderson Strange Adventures, page 1 from 218 as an issue. It sold for $1,680. So, you know, in general, it's like there's been no like hard-hitting auction results, but you know, we've got 2 big auctions closing very soon. Of course, we have the Comic Link auction, which is ending on let's see, on Tuesday, September 1st, and then the Heritage Comic and Comic Art auction, which I believe is the 10th through the 13th. So there's going to be a lot of interesting sales coming up. Comic Connect had their auction end this past Monday, so they wouldn't have been in this report. I'll have some of their results in next week's report. And outside of that, listen, I want to go and watch the live stream over at the Kirby Museum. So I will bid you all adieu. Thanks for tuning in, and I will definitely see you guys next week.